Wedding feast of Cana. Let's set the scene a little bit. Jesus has spent 30 years as a carpenter in a small town, not being noted for any particular thing. He went into the desert for 40 days and came out on a new mission in life, a totally brand new course that he was embarked upon and was thinking about and working on. It was great. Well, he and his mom and people were invited to a wedding. And so they went to the wedding, and what happened? Ran out of wine. Well, mother, Mary, said, they have no wine, you know. And Jesus, of course, with his focus on this ministry that he's going to be doing, he says, what concern of yours has to do with me? Because it's not my time, you know. And then, however, took a deep breath and said, no problem. Fill the jars with wine. And we have the great miracle of Cana. So now he's doing this as a model for us in terms of miracles in our lives. You know, miracles are not unusual. They're happening every day in all of our lives. We just don't avert to them. But there are some things we can do to make the miracles happen. And looking at Jesus at Cana, we see what some of these things are. First for Jesus, then for you and me. The first lesson of Cana is Jesus' miracles happened when Jesus was open to new information. One of the neatest parts of the gospel is that Jesus trusted his mother's judgment and was able to change his mind. He had a plan for approaching the beginning of his ministry, but he got some new information and changed that plan. He reframed the situation. Think of it. Jesus, Son of God, Pantocrator, creator of the universe, the one through whom all of this was made, at the most crucial part of his ministry, was able to change his mind. He did it at the request of his mother. He did it, and he trusted that, of course, God would straighten all of it out. It speaks volumes about Jesus. Often, opening one's mind we need new information. And Jesus was not aware of the lack of wine for the guests until his mother mentioned it to him. See, often we don't want to change our mind because we don't want to appear inconsistent. When consistency can be a value, indeed, but it also can be an excuse. Oscar Wilde said, consistency is the last refuge of the unimaginative. When I get new information and changing my mind is a very Christ-like thing to do. Obedience means listening without precondition. It is really hard because we tend to get into a habit of thinking and looking at things, and when it's challenged, it can throw us off bounds. The fact is, however, we live in a new world in many ways from the one Jesus lived in, and also a new world from the last 50 years. Things are really, with COVID and global warming and all of this. This is a new program. We need to have new information to make new choices that are going to be appropriate for the situation in which we find ourselves. Jesus trusted infinite love to provide everything he needed when he needed, and he was open to receive it. So if you like to say with me, miracles happen when I am open to new information. Miracles happen when I am open to new information. So that's the first lesson of Cana. The second one is Jesus' miracle happened as he listened and lived in compassion. The beauty of the gospel is that Jesus' first miracle was at a wedding. He had a heart. He felt compassion for the bride and groom who were embarrassed by the lack of wine for the celebration. What a guy. Often, I believe, in today's world, we develop a certain callousness to human suffering and to problems. An uncaring attitude can creep into everyday interactions. We tend to say, just get over it. People have things going on with them. The planet Earth is right now at a very complex and dangerous place, and suffering is huge. 7.5 billion people. I'm deeply moved personally by simple acts of kindness done by real people just like you know. And I know I experience them from the parishioners of this parish in many, many ways. Jesus had a really big heart and was filled with compassion. He was very warm and human. My challenge is to renew my heart by loving in little ways. One way to do this is to learn the gift of reversing roles with people. When you reverse roles, you set your bloated ego aside and try and look at life through the eyes of this person to which you're relating to. You're not evaluating him, you're just trying to understand. We can do this in many ways. We do it for, of course, the hungry and people with poverty. But the other thing is, what is it like for your husband or your wife to live with you day and night, all week, all year? Try and develop some compassion right at home. If you live with empathy, it will soften your heart. So if you'd like to say with me, miracles happen when I listen with my heart. Miracles happen when I listen with my heart. And thirdly, lesson from Cana is that Jesus' miracle happened when he risked generosity. Jesus decided to help out, and he did so in a big way. 6 gallons of water jars with tremendous gallons apiece. What a party. Jesus was seeing himself in a new way, and he's seeing himself in terms of service. That he was no longer the carpenter, as good as that was. He was on a mission as leader of the many into the kingdom of God. It was not the way he planned to do it in his ministry, but it indeed began with a bang. At times in life, we feel really stuck. We get into a mental groove, and it's really hard to change anything, but it is possible. we do so by taking the risk of generosity. It feels a little bit wooden at first sometimes, but after a time, you can get comfortable with that role and eventually even become creative with it. That doesn't mean you have to abandon your job or your marriage. It means that we sometimes need to renegotiate our life a little bit. It might be as simple as taking on a volunteer job in a hospital or school. It may mean releasing responsibility to someone with whom you have become codependent. Trying something new may be as simple as a new hobby, writing a letter to your congressman. We had some great letters out in the sacristy today, looking for canonization of some really neat people. When you change a role, you change yourself, and you see yourself with new eyes. Change what you do, and you'll change how you view. You'd like to say with me, miracles happen when I risk generosity. Miracles happen when I risk generosity. So, Cana was a start for Jesus, his new ministry, new roles, new life. What can we learn from it? First, we learn that Jesus really likes a good party. But more importantly, I take the opportunity at the beginning of a brand new year to look at my life through new eyes of loving, trusting, and serving those whom infinite love has placed in the unique circumstances of my life. And we do that by being open to new information, by listening with our heart, and by risking generosity.